I am that I am, Saint Germain in service, and I welcome you all here this evening. It's quite a chaotic mess you humans have created in the last month, isn't it? On a global scale, looking down as we do, or although I do not like to create that idea that we look down because we are all equal, but looking from Spirit's perspective, there is a lot of turmoil, there's a lot of chaos as the dust has been kicked up. And as I have spoken about previously to some of you earlier in the week, it is as if the world on a global level has taken a deep breath. And it's that deep breath of what's going to happen next. There's fear, there's tension. And on individual levels, many of you are picking up on that. And this is adding to, I guess, the burden of that which we call ascension, of that which brings you to your own awareness. So not only on individual perspectives, you're processing your own, I'm going to call it garbage, but you're also in many ways carrying the burden of the collective consciousness of the planet at the moment. Now, this is no easy task, and it's also completely unnecessary. Not only is carrying the burden of the collective consciousness upon your shoulders unnecessary, but so is all the perceived burdens that you have in your lives. You do not need to carry them. And I know it's very easy for many people, particularly on the paths that they are on the spiritual path, if you want to call it that as you walk along, certain aspects of yourself will come up to greet you. And you may not like all of these aspects that come up to greet you. And that's completely normal, and that's okay. But I also want to emphasize that these not liking these aspects is due to human programming. Because when you get out of the head of the human and you come to your divine space, there is love for every aspect of your being, the supposed good and the supposed bad. And this is where you are all at this point. Every single one of you in this room, you are at an integration point. You are at that point where you are calling back all the different parts of yourselves. And this is not just in terms of personalities, this is lifetimes. You're calling all of yourselves back. Many of you do carry baggage from past lifetimes, and it may not necessarily be from lifetimes on this planet, it can be from other realms or planets. But when you reach that point of integration, you need to make peace with every single part of yourself. And this can be quite conflicting because you'll find that you have emotions that conflict, you'll have thoughts that conflict, and for some strange reason they'll all make sense together if you allow it. But many of you will consider yourselves going crazy, or you'll be questioning your sanity because no one can think two supposedly opposing things at the same time. How can they be in harmony? How can they work together? How can I feel happy yet sad? How can I feel tired yet energized? All these opposites that you experience in this world of duality are now being called back to come together in harmony. And they do work in harmony. You put yourselves at disease when You do not allow them to be in harmony when you deny one side. In many ways, you could view it as the yin and the yang, and how they work together. If you are to say, I do not accept this part of myself, then the rest of you is going to fall into disarray. It might work for a little while. You might decide that you're only going to have happy thoughts, for example. And you can trick yourself into this for a certain amount of time. You can hypnotize your mind into believing that you're only having happy thoughts and that you're always a happy person, but that's very monotone. There's no color or life to that. You cannot have one without the other. And this is a concept that's spoken of in alchemy. Is one of the key concepts of alchemy, that you cannot experience one side of the spectrum without experiencing the other. And those who allow themselves to experience the depth of their being, of their sadness, or their anger, or any of those supposed negative emotions, as humans like to call them, they'll have the ability to experience the same on the other side of the spectrum. So the depth that you allow yourself to feel your sadness, you will feel the same in happiness. The depth that you allow in anger, you will feel the same in love. They're all part of the symphony that makes up you. So while on the outside everything appears to be in turmoil, I want you to know that on a collective global level, this is because humans are not at peace with themselves. And until everyone makes peace with the situation that they are in and the situation that the world is in, then they are not going to find that harmony or that balance that they are seeking. And right now, many humans are speeding things up. Must go faster. Must keep looking for that next little breadcrumb that it's almost like the horse chasing the carrot. Humans have programmed themselves to constantly be searching, moving forward, because if only you could grab something outside of yourself, then you would know peace. But it doesn't work that way, because you are the peace. You are the still point. You are the I am. And until you begin to recognize that and come back to that neutral point, that point that is beyond all the human conditioning and programming, the more you're going to keep entering into the play and believing the play is actually real. So particularly in this time when all of you who are sitting in this room are quite sensitive, and that you do pick up on the emotions and the energies of what is going on around you, it's very important to allow yourself that quiet time, that still time. I know that there are many who are at the point that you are all at that worry that you spend too much time on your own, and that human voice comes in and says, oh, it's not normal to spend so much time on my own, or I should be out socializing, I should be doing this or that. And many of you will find that when you do actually go out and force yourself to do the things that you've told yourself you should, you don't actually enjoy yourself, and you leave feeling more depleted than when you started. It's okay to honor this time of quiet. It's okay to honor this time of allowing yourself to just be with yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. And if anything, it is incredibly important at this point so that you do not lose yourself in the energies that are amplifying on the planet at present. Really take some time for some self-nurturing, some self-care. There are so many goals and so many milestones that humans will often put out there and say, well, you need to have achieved this, and this in order to be successful, or to be someone, or to be a respected person, or to you deserve that respect from others, but you have to tick all these boxes. I'm asking you all now to put those aside. All of you. And I want you all to have a good and honest look at where your lives are right now. And look at it through neutral eyes. Not the programming your family put there, not how your friends might perceive it, not how society might perceive it, but have an honest look. Is this serving my soul? Is this an accurate representation of where I wish to be? And if it isn't, it's time to start allowing the energies to flow into where you do want to see change. You are not put here to suffer. You weren't put here to idly work yourself away into an early grave. And when I say idly work, I mean when you're in autopilot, you're not really feeling, you're not living. You're just going through the motions. And when you go through the motions, you actually miss the miracles that go on around you and within you. Because this planet has a lot more to offer than what is portrayed to you through television, radio, the general public, society, what you're taught in school, what your families might have taught you. There is a greater depth that many of you are missing. And it goes beyond the ideas of building careers and family structures and owning houses or whatever it is you humans tend to spend your entire lives building. It goes beyond that. And many of you realize this because you're sitting here. You're looking for something more. You know that there is more. What speaks to you? What truly speaks to you? What do you find joy in? So many of you have put yourself on this long, hard road of suffering. And many of you have told yourselves that if you suffer enough, then of course you'll gain some sort of awakening or enlightenment. But that's just a hangover from Christianity. Move beyond. Where is the joy in life? All this processing, all this baggage, everything that comes up, you can transcend that. You can, and I have said this many times before, you can transcend that need to process. Because your being is so vast that if you were to process everything that's gone on in this life and every other life you've ever experienced, you'll get stuck in an infinite loop. But who you are at your core, the I am, that part of you that is neutral, that exists, that is indestructible, it is not touched by these things. And if you can connect into that, if you can realize that that is you, you are merely the witness to all of this, then all of a sudden you'll realize that there's nothing to heal. You're already healed. You are here for the experience of creation. Many of you have come to Earth for the experience, the sensual experience of Earth. What it is like to have a physical body, to touch, to taste, to feel the wind on your skin. It's all about the experience. And what do you want to create while you're here? And I do not want to hear, unless it really does speak to you, any of these altruistic ideals of, well, I'm going to go to some impoverished country and I'm going to open up an orphanage because that's what a spiritual person does. I want you to put all of that aside. This is about coming back to you. This is about leaving behind preconceived ideas. Because until you all learn to love yourselves, until you all learn to nurture yourselves and honor what you want, not what your filters have told you want, but what you want at a soul level, you are not going to be able to help others. Although really, ultimately, if you want to get to another level, the others do not need help. Because they have chosen their experiences, just like every single person sitting here has chosen their experiences. And then I know many of you say, no, it was circumstance, or this happened, or that happened. But you will find, particularly when you come to that higher level of realization, that no, you chose it. And you'll all have your reasons for choosing it. Perhaps it was just merely for the experience, but many of you, I am observing, are choosing these experiences, these negative experiences, as a way to crack through your own programming and coming back to who you actually are. If I keep suffering, then surely I will awaken. Move beyond it now. Allow yourselves to rest. And I mean really rest, because many of you are feeling tired on a soul level. Not just your body, you feel it in your entire being, you're tired. Let yourselves be tired, but in being tired, allow yourselves to rest. Go within, leave off the judgment, and allow yourselves to be exactly as you are in this now moment, in any given moment. I say this often, but leave yourselves alone. It's good to be reminded, because humans are their own worst critics. Just breathe into that for a moment. Be with yourselves just as you are, without judgment. Because as soon as you can do that, that is your gateway. That is your gateway back to yourselves. Because the more you judge, the more you lock parts of yourselves away. However, where you are all at, those doors are all being flung wide open. And those aspects of yourselves that you've had hidden away for a long time, maybe even lifetimes, are all coming out to greet you now. What are you going to do with them? Are you going to try and push them back into the room and lock the door? Or are you going to greet them face on, without judgment? Allow them to be, and let them show you what it is they have to show you. What aspects of yourselves are you ashamed of? What aspects of yourselves are you not allowing to be part of your entire being? One cannot be enlightened, one cannot awaken until they accept every single part of their being. And I know that humans have this lofty idea that God does not have any bad aspects. But each and every one of you is God. We are all one. And from that spark, all of this was created. And so, dear ones, the potential for everything lies within all of us. It's time to leave off that battle now. To accept that there are, as the human perceives it, good and bad aspects. And that is okay. It is okay. This is your integration point. Are there any questions?
I've got a question not related to the shadow you're talking about, more at a soul level. Where our souls actually initiated from, whether it's interplanetary or whether it's to do with the soul of the earth combined with something else, and also whether the soul can be destroyed.
Are you talking in regards to your individual souls?
Individual souls.
So the individual souls are even beyond this universe. There are multiverses. It is beyond that. When there was, I guess you can say, you could call it a disturbance, but it happened that the self broke away from the self in many different parts. And so individual selves are all seeds of consciousness that come from the one consciousness. And from that, these souls began to create. They were aware of themselves, and thus this universe and the dimensions that are entwined with it were born. And so this universe has very much been an evolving, I guess you could call it, it's almost as if the universe is an evolving painting, because there are seeds of consciousness, which is your soul, who are constantly changing it, manipulating it, exploring different parts of themselves, exploring different parts of their being and what they are capable of. Earth is one of those greatest and oldest creations, and it very much started as a way to discover whether we could come back together as one again. Although it's sort of been pulled into a bit of a tangle at present, and it moved beyond that initial intention, if you like. So many souls who actually began this realm of Earth are now leaving because the original intentions are now very much fading into the background. But the soul is awareness that comes from the greater collective, which is beyond all of these multiverses. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so if that's the case, there aren't really any old or new souls.
No. It's a very human... Yes.
Kaka.
Yes.
And just the other question, can a soul be destroyed or
No.
split or no?
There can be a split, particularly depends on the realm that you are coming into. Can't be split completely, but I guess it's similar to light reflecting off a glass or mirror, so you get that spectrum. And this very much happens in regards to a soul entering any kind of realm in which there is duality. So this realm very much, because the way the energies are, they call for the soul to be split into a male and female polarity. And so many of the souls that are here, not all, but a lot of the souls who've been here for a very long time, the only way they could incarnate here or comfortably bring their energy field into alignment with this realm was to split off into their male and female polarity in order to be here. So there would be a female aspect and a male aspect, both being individual souls working individually as different humans, but at a higher level are actually as one. But that is the only time you would really find that there is a split, if that makes sense.
Sounds like what some would call your twin flame then.
Precisely. I just don't like to use
That
the term, as humans have put all sorts of ideas all over it, which aren't necessarily true. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Are there any other questions?
Is there any chance that the world will get in a third war?
Now, this is an interesting question in regards to how volatile the energies on this planet are at present. When the new energies started to come to the Earth, it actually opened up the potential for there to be many outcomes. Even 100 years ago, which isn't that long in regards to measuring Earth time, the energy was a lot more dense. And because of this, it was quite easy to navigate a path. And it was quite easy for someone who you humans would call psychic to be able to look at a person and see their fixed path and go, this is where you're headed. But now, because those energies are not like that anymore, It's not so dense on Earth. There is greater potential for change, and that change can happen at any moment. And this actually causes a lot of stress in humans too, even within their own lives. And I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent here, but I feel it is important because, once again, even 100 years ago or more, a human very much had a set path that was hard to move from. Now the human at every single given moment has thousands upon thousands of potentials that they can very easily slip into. Those potentials were always present in the past, I guess you would call it. But it was harder to get off one road and jump onto another. But now, as the energies are becoming less dense, the vibrations are raising, this has made it very easy to jump from road to road, and you can change your future in the blink of an eye. There really aren't any paths that you can get stuck on anymore, unless you allow yourself to. And so this is where the Earth is at right now. There are many potentials open. There is no one set path. And these higher vibrations, these higher frequencies are actually causing a lot of distress in beings who are living on this planet right now who are completely unconscious. And it causes distress in these beings because it's giving them a shake-up. It's forcing them out of their old patterns, out of their comfort zones. And often when the unconscious being is being shaken up in that way, they will act out. Be anger, fear, rage. They do not act from a place of stillness and consciousness. Right now, and I'm talking right now in this potential as we are in this now moment, and I'm trying to find a more eloquent way of putting it, but I am stuck with Kerry's vocabulary, and she's calling it a pissing contest. That is what you are seeing right now. You're seeing a display of egos. That is what you are seeing. A great display of egos. Of pride. Right now, in this now moment, no. We are not seeing a World War III. Even though everyone has their breaths hold in anticipation for something like that. Will there be turmoil in this now moment? Yes. But as I say, things can change very quickly, and I feel that this is also why humans are holding their breaths at this point in time. Because they know how changeable the energies are. They know how volatile the energies are. But the more fear you put into the space, the more you're feeding those, I guess humans would put it as a negative potential or outcome. And it is completely okay to feel fear. Do not fight that fear. But I'm asking all of you here who have a level of consciousness to take a step back. To come back to that neutral point. To the I am. And the more beings on this planet who can come back to that still point, the more they can stabilize not only their energies, but it stabilizes the energies around them. And it's also important to understand that collectively, consciousness chooses whatever happens in any given moment. and that consciousness is just a continual stream. And so what may seem bad will eventually run into good, which may run into bad again. And I guess that's the duality and the reality of being on this planet. But do not let yourselves get caught in fear. Because as I said just before, the soul is indestructible. Do not fear a World War III. Just accept with grace whatever comes. Are there any other questions? Jen, you have a question.
So the path to enlightenment, is it all about accepting every part of yourself?
Yes.
Is that what gets you over the line?
Yes.
Oh, wrong choice of words. You know what I mean.
And what words would you extinguish from what you just said?
What was the wrong word?
Yes.
Or stepping over the line.
And?
Because you're already enlightened. It's just a matter of acceptance.
And what was the other wrong term?
What? Another question?
The other term that was incorrect that you used?
Stepping over the line? Is that...
Prior to that.
Oh, okay. Can you...
In anything in regards to a journey or a destination.
Did I mention that?
Yes.
Sorry. Oh, that's incorrect.
You at your core, you at your center, who you are, the I am. That is you, and that is enlightenment. You're already enlightened, every single one of you. It's all the filters that you've created and all the weird energy patterns you've gotten yourself stuck in that make you believe that you're not. But it's already there. You just need to allow yourself to be it. And when you all realize how simple it is, you will laugh. Are there any other questions? If not, I will wrap it up in saying that fear, when you get caught up in it, does not serve you. Fear, when you fight it, does not serve you. Fear is not a negative emotion as you humans would coin it. Fear is there. It is an aspect of yourselves. It's always going to be there. There's no use in denying it. What matters is how you dance with it, how you observe it. Are you going to be carried away by the fear? Or are you just going to let it be there? Acknowledge it. Accept that it is there. And you can do this with any emotion that you feel you may get caught up and carried away in. Always come back to that still point where you are the observer. You can experience much of these different aspects from the still point. But the more you fight any of these, the more you will find yourself tangled up in them. So greet them as they come Allow them to be there and stop fighting yourselves. This is your integration point. If you feel fear, feel fear. Just don't get caught up in it. If you feel anger, feel it. Allow yourself to feel it. Don't get caught up in it. Don't lose yourself in it. Because once you've lost yourself in emotion, then you're not sitting in your being. You're not sitting in the I am. You're not being yourself. Dance with whatever comes your way. And know that your soul is indestructible and that you are safe at all times. I am Saint Germain.